We have a new leader for the most controversial, debated, polarizing move of free agency so far for the Miami Dolphins, the re-signing of offensive lineman Liam Eichenberg to a one-year deal. Judging by the reaction on social media, which shouldn't have been surprising given, again, the polarizing nature of the guy, a guy who has been the target of many a fan's criticism over the past several years since he joined the Dolphins as a second-round pick in 2021. The move to bring back Liam Eichenberg generally wasn't met with overwhelming applause or approval. So why did the Dolphins do it? And here's another question. Why did Liam Eichenberg accept to return to the Dolphins? Well, maybe this is a situation where each side needed each other. For the Dolphins, because I've seen this question on social media quite a bit, why would the Dolphins possibly want to bring back Liam Eichenberg? Well, because they need depth on the offensive line. And like him or not, and a lot of fans don't, Liam Eichenberg has a lot of playing experience, has a lot of starting experience, and this may come as a surprise to those who like to knock him at every turn. But Liam Eichenberg has started at least 10 games each of his 4 seasons with the Dolphins since arriving as that second-round pick. Has he been a great offensive lineman? No, he hasn't. Nobody would ever argue that. Has he been atrocious? Some Dolphin fans would tell you, oh, absolutely. He's been terrible. The truth lies probably somewhere in between. The Dolphins did want to upgrade the guard position in this offseason after getting what I think everybody would agree was subpar play out of the position. But that doesn't necessarily mean they brought back Liam Eichenberg to be a starter again, though one would think he's going to be given a chance to win a starting job. And part of the issue is the Dolphins were not going to spend big money in free agency. We've seen that through the first 3 days, 4 or 5 days, however you want to classify it, considering the legal negotiating period, which began on Monday. The biggest deal the Dolphins have given out in terms of annual average was the 3-year, $24 million contract signed by guard James Daniels, formerly of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, he figures, based on his contract, based on his NFL resume, to be one of the starters at guard. But when it comes to the other side, Daniels is the right guard. So when it comes to the left guard position, right now, Dolphins don't have a ton of options. Now, they still can get another guy in free agency, but they're not going to spend a lot of money for a guy. So, for example, Tevin Jenkins, who formerly of the Chicago Bears, who remains on the market as of Friday morning, is he an option? Maybe. But the Dolphins are not going to overspend for him. So the Dolphins want to accumulate and build up some depth, as well as get themselves in a position where they have as much competition as possible for that other guard job. And if you look at the roster right now, the Dolphins have one player currently listed on the roster as a guard. That's James Daniel. Among the guys who are listed as offensive linemen, who are interior offensive linemen, whether it be guard or center, are Aaron Brewer, Braden Daniels, signed late last year, Chasen Hines, spent last year in the practice squad, Andrew Meyer, who was a rookie free agent last year, spent the entire season on the roster because the Dolphins obviously liked what they had, but didn't play it down, was inactive every single week, or he may have been active one week, but he didn't play. And now Liam Eichenberg back again. So, again, as it stands right now, Liam Eichenberg, chances are, will be one of the starting guards. Is that going to be the case come September when the 2025 regular season opens? Yeah, who knows? So we haven't seen the financial details of the contract revealed. Going to imagine it's not for big money. Robert Jones signed a one-year deal with the Dallas Cowboys, where the reports they're suggesting was for 4.5 for 4.6 million. I'm going to guess it's going to be around the same area for Liam Eichenberg. So to answer the question of why would the Dolphins bring back Liam Eichenberg, rightly or wrongly, this is a comment we've heard quite a bit from the Dolphins the past couple of years when it comes to particularly the offensive line, as far as the players that they bring back, and the question is being asked of why did you not make changes. We've heard the phrase, we're familiar with them, they're hard workers, we're counting on improvement. So I'm not saying it's right or wrong, saying that would be one reason the Dolphins brought him back. They also brought him back again because they're familiar with him. He's got position versatility. He's got a lot of starting experience. and they didn't break the bank for him. The other question, and this is a fair question that also needs to be asked, is why would Liam Eichenberg agree to rejoin the Dolphins when you consider that A, they have kept moving him from position to position along the offensive line. He's played all 5 positions, and that includes last year when he was penciled in as a starting guard. Brewer, who had joined the team as the new starting center, sustained a finger injury in training camp, and instead of using somebody else to take the reps at center to allow Eichenberg to really hone in on the guard position, they moved Eichenberg to center. And as politely as he could say it, or not say it, but facially express it because he's a really good team player, Eichenberg wasn't thrilled about that. So that would leave you to believe that he might not have been crazy about the team. And then the other reason why, as I wrote on Miami Dolphins on SI.com, I had Liam Eichenberg highly unlikely to return. The other part of it is when Isaiah Wynn finally was able to return from his 2023 October quad injury, got activated from PUP, then they started rotating Wynn and Eichenberg. Wynn would get the start and they would trade series, which I don't think I'm going out on a limb by telling you that offensive linemen don't like that. They like to get into a rhythm. They like to play the entire game. And also, as an NFL player, it's like, I'm a starter, especially since I've been starting the whole year. I should continue to remain a starter and play every snap. So it was very difficult to envision, even though we spoke to Liam Eichenberg at the end of the season on locker cleanout day, asking about his thoughts. He was very tight-lipped. Basically, I'm going to see what's out there and all that. And I think I'd asked him point blank about the idea of returning to the Dolphins, and he was like, again, non-committal, we'll see. And the best guess here is from the Dolphins standpoint, we discussed why they would want to bring him back. From Eichenberg's standpoint, why would he want to come back? Well, logic tells you that the market out there for him was not great. Now, you will never have either agents or the players themselves will be quick to tell you, don't have many teams were interested in me and had a lot of offers to choose from, and I chose the Dolphins. If there are not a lot of offers or any other offers around the league, that's not going to come out because you're never going to hear an agent saying, yeah, Dolphins were the only team interested in signing Liam. That's just not going to happen. I think it's not unreasonable to suggest that there wasn't much of a market for Eichenberg, that he ultimately decided, again, depending on whatever offers might have been out there, if any, that he was better off going back to a place with which he's familiar, try again to regain a starting job. Because the feeling also, another factor is, I think we were at this time last year probably all thinking that Liam Eichenberg was not going to be in the starting lineup, and lo and behold, there he was. So I think the feeling is the Dolphins might think a lot more about Liam Eichenberg than fans and the media might think. But to say the least, yes, it was an interesting move, to say the least. I did not expect it. I don't think many other my colleagues cover the Dolphins on a regular basis would have expected it. And judging by the reaction on social media, it's the one that's gotten the most, what's the word I'm looking for? That's produced the most reaction, even more so than Zach Wilson being signed as a backup quarterback to Tua Tagovailoa, which also is kind of a bit of a polarizing move considering how badly he flamed out with the Jets before he had the one good year with the Denver Broncos, despite actually not appearing in a game in a regular season. None of the other signings created this kind of reaction at all, whether it be Daniels, Larry Borum, Ifatu Melifonwu, Nick Westbrook-Ikine, Ashton Davis, KJ Britt, or Alexander Madison, the running back from Las Vegas, or any of the re-signings, whether it be Matt Campbell, Elijah Campbell, Quentin Bell, Tyrell Dodson, Jackson Carmen, or D. Eskridge. No move has created the kind of reaction that the re-signing of Liam Eichenberg early Thursday evening created. But he's back for a 5th season with the Dolphins. And as I wrote on Miami Dolphins on SI.com, which I encourage everyone to check out, maybe this is the year he has a breakthrough and, puts a stamp on validating the Dolphins' decision in 2021 to trade a future third-round pick to the New York Giants to move up from 50 to 42 in the second round to select Eichenberg out of Notre Dame. So we'll see how it plays out. In the meantime, it most definitely was a very interesting signing for the Dolphins. Probably, again, as I said earlier, began this with the most controversial, polarizing move so far for the Dolphins in free agency.